My father was actually a refugee who left Vietnam in the aftermath of the Vietnam War. Having known how much there was people to help my family, it almost feels like I have a debt, you know? I have a debt that we need to pay off.
There are many roads to become a citizen in the United States. Asylum is one of them. And asylum is a very special category because it's reserved for people who cannot stay where they are long enough to apply for a visa from where they're living. It's people that are directly fleeing violence.
We have to understand that these families are not coming to the US just because they want a new iPhone. They're leaving their country because there's a life-threatening situation.
You know, every year there's statistics on murders per capita. You look at the most dangerous countries in the world, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala consistently are in the top 10 most dangerous countries in the world, often ranking above Syria. To kind of give as an example the journey that a family coming from Guatemala would typically face. The traditional route was to pay somebody to ferry you across the river into Mexico, and then to pay for a bus ticket or journey on foot all the way up through Mexico until you get to the border.
Mexico is not a third safe country, it's not a first safe country for Mexicans. All these families are not protected at all. Thousands of people that has disappeared, thousands of people that has been murdered. There's around 40,000 people missing in Mexico that are migrants and that were migrants at some point.
So it's a dangerous journey the whole way here. It's dangerous for them even when they get here, and they're not done with it, you know, by the time they arrive. We see them as they've been released from the detention center, but they still have to plead their case. They still have to make their journey across the country to join their sponsors and their family members. And so it does beg a question of what is our obligation in that situation? What can we do? What could we do better than what we're doing now? We chose the name of the Welcome Center because that to us is what we're doing. And so when folks are getting off of the bus from the detention center, we're there greeting them and saying, welcome, 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 and shaking hands with, you know, the adults and high-fiving the kids and really making them feel like you're a guest. You're here because we are so grateful to have you. They came to our door saying, I am in danger, my children are in danger, and they deserved for somebody to say, here's a blanket, come sit down. When we first started providing these emergency supports, we were taking systems we've been using as a community for many, many years, and some of them we would do on spreadsheets, sometimes we'd do stuff on paper, a lot of things that were ad hoc, and they worked, and they were good in a pinch, but they were not the best we could possibly be doing. So when Zendesk first approached us and said, you know, are there ways we could help? We were like, actually, this would be fantastic. If you could help us streamline our intake process so that we are staying on top of all the things that we're doing for each family, but also so that we could start to actually collect information that helps us serve better. Everything that has been put together for us is so customized to fit our needs, and it doesn't just help us here at the Welcome Center. It helps as these families travel across the country. The IRC has branches in other cities where they're starting to develop these long-term supports for asylum seekers, and their information can travel with them. It really takes us from what we're able to do at this level through the clouds.
Every day, I tell you, all the staff will tell you this, every day there is some story that just like socks you in the heart, and you're like, wow, that left a dent on my heart that's not gonna go away for years.
Our immigration process even for people seeking asylum is to process them through a prison-like setting. And in that setting, frequently personal belongings are thrown away because there's seen as a security risk to go through every backpack. Shoelaces and belts are seen as potential risks, and so they're taken away. And so what we see are little children and old men getting off of a bus with no shoelaces, falling out of their own shoes. And we can help with that, right? We can give somebody a backpack to put their things in. We can give them back shoelaces and belts, and we can give them a fresh set of clothes and, you know, let them take showers and all of the things that make you feel like you again.
We might be the first person that ever genuinely says to these people, welcome, I'm glad you're here, I'm glad you made it. and I'm gonna do everything I can to move you along to the next step so that you can begin a new life here in the United States. We build a community in like 12 hours here. Within 12 hours, everybody's holding each other's babies and taking care of each other's kids, and it's really an amazing transformation to see kids that are coming off a bus, wide-eyed, scared, to turning into running around screaming, playing soccer, fighting over toys, you know what I mean? I think sometimes there's this narrative of like, oh, these poor, helpless immigrants. But in the reality, these are some of the most resilient people you will ever meet. These folks got all the way here without our help. And we can't like imagine that like, oh, they would be totally helpless if we weren't here, because that's not true. They would find a way. All we can do is just maybe make this little time period just a little bit easier so they have that chance to rest and recuperate and rebuild their resiliency for the stuff that's ahead.
So as long as there's people passing through our town, we have the capacity to help. And if we have the capacity to help, again, I feel like that's also an obligation. We see what's needed, we know we have the capacity to do it, then we should be doing it.